Hey everybody, welcome back to another Beard Guys video. Today we are looking at the patch notes and gameplay footage of the brand new Vikendi Reborn update on PUBG. That's update 21.1. Patch notes are now out, as well as this being available on the PC test server today. I've been playing it this morning, getting some gameplay footage for you and some cinematic shots so I can get a bit of a feel for it and talk about it today. This includes a whole new revamp of Vikendi. It's essentially pretty much a new map. It's got a new comeback BR mechanic that's a little bit different to how the one works on Tago, as well as some other things on other maps, some vehicle rebalancing and stuff like that. This update is available to play live now on the PUBG PC test service if you have access to that. It's going to go live for PUBG PC next Tuesday on December 6th, and it's going to be live for console the following Thursday on December the 15th. Once this update goes live, we're going to see Vikendi as a featured map, so you'll be able to play that as much as you want. And then you're going to have the other pool of maps, which is going to be Erangel, Miramar, Tago, Sanhok, and Paramo. Slightly surprising to see Destin removed from rotation again after just coming back in. There is some sort of promotion stuff they've got going on Sanhok, so I feel that may be why they've brought that back. But I was a little bit surprised to see them choose Tago over Destin. Personally, I would have rather had Destin in rotation instead of Tago. There have been a few bugs with Destin at the moment on console, particularly with a lot of silent vehicles, so perhaps there were some performance issues that's caused Destin to be removed, but shame there. But otherwise not too bad, that rotation. Featured map can be a contentious one. Personally, I'm happy to see it. I think when you have a huge new map update, you need featured map at least just for a couple of weeks so you can play it. There's nothing worse than coming on and wanting to play the brand new update and then having a 1 in 5 chance of actually getting the map that has anything new on it. I appreciate they can have some issues on the queue's performance in different regions, but I think certainly it needs to be featured map off the bat, and then they can remove that as it starts to affect negatively some of the queues. Maybe give it one update. It's only a month. I'm sure we can all handle that without losing our minds too much. Vikendi Reborn itself, as you've probably seen, has been changed to an 8x8 instead of a 6x6. It's a huge change. It's got loads of snow on it now. There's clear and cloudy weathers. You see a lot of the original stuff still in it, like Dino Land and Villa, but you're going to find that they've been tweaked slightly, feel a little bit different. Also find them in different locations. As well as that, there's loads of new major locations to explore that have been created, including the observatory, the train station, the lumberyard, and several other major towns. Vikendi Reborn also features cable cars. These go from point to point. There's quite a few of them around the map. The cable cars will move to the stop, stay there for a little while. You can jump on, you can even drive a vehicle onto it. You also seem to find loads of panzer spawns both on the cable cars and at the cable car spawns, so you can jump onto the cable car and then it will go back and forth over the line and you can fire panzers down at people or whatever you want to do. It's also worth noting you also have the reusable parachute now on Vikendi, so once you're in the cable car you can bail out whenever you want and parachute down onto the areas below. Another major difference with Vikendi is the lab camps. Now there's a bunch of these scattered along the frozen river, kind of up in the northwest area of the map near coal mine, and along this ice river there's a bunch of these. A couple of them are large, a couple of them are small, and there's a couple of medium ones, but there's quite a few of them. And at these lab camps, you're going to find various crates that you can open. They're called yellow, red, and blue supply drops. The yellow ones can contain boosts, throwables, smoke launcher, or level 3 equipment. Red supply ones contain weapons, including ammo, and blue supply ones contain attachments. It does say there's a slim chance you can find care package weapons in these, and you'll find a bunch of these crates at each of these different spots. When you open these crates, it plays an alarm to show that it's been opened, but there's so many of these, I'm not really sure that's going to have too much of an effect on anything unless you're trying to be super sneaky. But when you take things out of the crates, it does play an alarm. You can look in the crate and it won't set the alarm off, but when you take something out, the alarm will play. These drop areas are a good way to maybe guarantee yourself some quick guns, but also a lot of them, because they're in the middle of this ice river, they're very exposed areas. So if you drop there, trying to extract yourself may be quite difficult as you've got to move across the ice, and there may be some people waiting to take advantage of that. The next major thing worth talking about is the comeback BR. Now, this is similar to how it works on Tago, but I think refined in quite a nice way. But the way it works now is that there's 3 comeback BRs. So what this means is that instead of if you die at the start, you have a 9-minute wait or whatever you had on Tago, then the comeback BR, and if you win, you survive. If you die, you go out. In this, there's 3. So if you die at the beginning, there's a countdown that starts at the beginning of the game of about 3 minutes. If you die in those first 3 minutes, you'll go into that iteration 1 of comeback BR. Once that 3-minute timer has run out, another one will start, and then at the end of that, iteration 2 of comeback BR will start, and likewise for the third. And basically, because these 3 iterations of comeback BR, they take place throughout phase 1. By the time the third one ends, you're going to be in phase 2 with the circle starting to close. So a little way into the game, but not too far on. Once you're inside the comeback BR, it works a little bit like the Tager one, but it's a smaller area, and the circle pushes down to a much smaller area as well. And you also get these airdrops that will drop the colored supply crates mentioned earlier from the labs. If you're in one of the comeback BRs and you die, then you'll get a chance to play in the next one as well. And additionally, you can now find backpacks in here as well. You couldn't used to get backpacks on the Tager one. Now you'll be able to get all your normal loot as well as the stuff from the crates, and then you'll parachute back in via helicopter at the end of your comeback BR, whether that's phase 1, 2, or 3. This sounds quite appealing to me. It'd be interesting to see how it plays out in real gameplay, but certainly it solves the issue of in Tago, when you die at the start, you're like, oh, I've got to wait 10 minutes before I can get back. Whereas this, you're only going to have 3 minutes and then a bit of running around and then back again. So I think that's a nice resolution to the problem, and looking forward to trying that out. It is one that's hard to roll out to other maps without major functionality changes, because they're going to have to put a comeback BR island on every map. But I think they're positive changes, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. Moving further down in the patch notes, we can see we've got utility items added. This is the ascenders, ascender towers, and parachutes. As I mentioned earlier, reusable parachutes, just like Destin, are available, as well as ascenders you're going to find on different places around the map. They're pretty common again. Just like Destin, there's lots of these ascenders around to get you up and down in different areas. And the parachute you can keep using as much as you want, exactly how Destin works, which is going to allow loads of fun stuff you can do with cable cars and all this kind of stuff, and getting onto interesting areas, especially with comeback BR combined with it, so you can parachute in later on in phase 1 if you come back through comeback BR with loot and then land somewhere weird and then parachute out there. So looking forward to checking that out too. I think that's great to have those additions in. Also brought over from Destin, we have the fuel pumps. They're just like you can do on Destin. There's a few of those around the map. You can shoot them and they explode. You can stop them and fill your car up. Another completely new thing added for Vikendi Reborn is crowbar interaction. So there's a few doors and these red cages around the map that you can smash open with a crowbar. So once you found a crowbar, presumably if you have it skinned, that's fine. It can be, I don't know, a sword or a shovel or whatever the crowbar has as a skin. You can then batter down these doors and open these cages, and they contain all sorts of utility and meds. And you can find all sorts of bits in the buildings. I opened one building. I didn't find any particularly amazing loot in there. I don't know if I was just unlucky, but there are certain areas that you can only access by opening them now with a crowbar. On top of that, we also see the snowmobile come back to the game, which is great. We used to have it back in the day on Vikendi. We haven't had it for a while, so lovely to see the snowmobile back in action. The train is present on Vikendi now, but there's only like a couple of little lines. It doesn't have the masses of train lines like it used to, and they've also brought the volume down by 30%. It also sounds like you'll be able to get vehicles onto trains, and with the volume reduction, hopefully they'll be a bit more practical to use without going insane. Moving on from Vikendi, there are some interesting changes to the other maps as well. Not too major, but certainly some interesting stuff, including the ferries on Erangel have had the little ferry ports decluttered, and you can also now take vehicles onto them. So you'll be able to drive vehicles onto them. I assume we'll also be able to jump them onto them from the bridge now, because they used to have a kind of bubble, invisible protective bubble over the ferry that would stop you landing vehicles on top of it. If you've ever tried that, you'll know what I mean. But now you can take vehicles onto the ferries, which is a nice change. They've also marked the ferry routes on the map, so you'll be able to see the routes the ferries take. Additionally, on Erangel, they've also added an extra building, kind of the little one outside the hospital now has, it's kind of doubled really, it looks like a bit of a copy and paste, but there's now a slightly bigger compound outside of hospital to play with, as well as a few other cosmetic changes to some of the buildings in Erangel. Sanhok has some crazy stuff going on at Paradise that I don't really know what it is. Line Friends, whatever that is, There's, yeah, you know, that's that. The Neymar stuff and PGC stuff has been removed. Also, the McLaren stuff has been removed, so you won't have to put up with the McLaren in the lobby. And then there's some other interesting stuff to do with vehicles. They do also mention here briefly that secret room keys are not going to spawn for the moment for Tego and Paramo because they're broken, so they've just removed them. So if you can't find secret room keys, that is why. Another interesting change is the vehicle balance. So this affects quite a few different vehicles where they've basically buffed their health. They've added the trunk feature to a few of them where you can store stuff in it, like the Porter or the police car on Destin. And they've made some of them a little bit more powerful, particularly in regards to torque and their acceleration. So the Zima, which is the kind of buggy type thing on Vikendi, that has the trunk feature like the Porter, and it's had its health increased because it was so weak before. The Porter has had its health increased and speed increased and vehicle control because, you know, people don't use the Porter because it's rubbish. Pony Coupe has had its speed and torque in low RPM slightly decreased. The Minibus has had its health increased and a few other tweaks. The UAZ has had its low RPM range increased to help it pull away. And Murado the same as well as vehicle control being improved. So be interesting to see how those all feel. Sound like positive changes to me, helping with some of these slightly more frustrating aspects of some of those vehicles. Other than that, there's all the normal ranked stuff. It says there, as I mentioned, the McLaren has been removed from the lobby. Training mode, nice tweaks to training mode. You can join an ongoing training mode session now. You don't have to wait for one to start. You just queue and it will throw you in one. That is already there, which is fantastic. And they've also changed some of the options available for custom games. Some of the presets available are now slightly different, as well as some of the TDM maps being removed. Peshkova and Podvosto from Vikendi have now been removed from custom match and from TDM. Other than that, there's a few other tweaks here. The lobbies obviously changed with the new update. We've got the new Vikendi music. And there's also this like post-match screen you now get, which tells you about what medals you've got, what weapon XP you've got, what event missions you might have done, and looks like a nice addition to the game to summarize what you did and give you a bit more detail on what you maybe did in that specific game. We've also got a new Survivor Pass. Vikendi Reborn is out, and there's a few other bits added to the workshop, as well as some performance stuff and some bug fixes listed down at the bottom. I'll put the link to the full patch notes down in the description below if you do want to read through them yourself, but that is everything for today. Really exciting looking update. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm going to be having a look at it on stream today. If you want to come hang out and see any of it live, have a look at it. We can look at some of the areas in detail on Vikendi if you're interested in that, and feel free to ask me any questions at all you have about this update, or put them down below in the comments. So that's everything for today. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Ben. We are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time. I just wanted to drop you all a quick message to tell you about our PUBG creator code. As a PUBG partner, we have a creator code which you can add to your account, which means whenever you purchase anything in game, PUBG will give us a commission. Whether you're buying season passes, G-Coin bundles, or anything else that requires cash in PUBG, if you have our code added, then you'll be helping us out without costing yourself a penny extra. It's a great way to support the channel, and it really does help keep us making PUBG content for you. Plus, it's easy to set up and you'll only ever have to do it once. To add our code, first visit accounts.pubg.com and then log in or create an account. Once you've logged in, connect your Xbox, PlayStation or Steam account on the linked accounts tab, then go to the Creator Appreciation Program section and type the Beard Guys into the box or find us from the drop-down list. Then just click submit and you're all done. A massive thank you to everybody who has used our code. Your support is absolutely vital for us and it really makes a huge difference.